Welcome to the Ask Me Anything podcast with me, Joanne Faulkner, and this is a space where your question meets the wisdom of Chinese medicine. So whether it's a persistent physical symptom, an emotional challenge, or a mental unrest, you have asked the question and the universe is going to answer through Chinese medicine and my knowledge of it. Each episode I dive into your submitted questions, offering insights and practical solutions with Qi Gong exercise, acupressure points and food medicine. Together we can unlock the healing and balance and have more flow in your life. If today's discussion resonates with you, fantastic. And if not, remember, you can submit your own question at podcasts@thejoannefaulkner.ie website. So let's explore how to transform your pain into power and restore your natural state of vibrant health. And today we are embracing a question that touches the lives of many: how to reduce uterine fibroids from a Chinese medicine perspective. Remember, the insights that I share are complementary and should harmonize with your unique journey and any guidance that you get from your healthcare practitioners and providers. With the body's natural systems, we want to balance yin and yang. So you imagine your body's energy like qi that flows like a river. And just like you have arteries and veins for the blood to travel around the body, cooling, nourishing and fortifying, we have meridians. And these meridians transport the energy of the body, which give it a yang function of moving, warming, and transforming and protecting. Qi moves blood, and blood nourishes qi. They are two sides of the same coin. And when energy or blood flow becomes obstructed or slows down due to stress, emotional upheaval, or lifestyle factors and choices, it can lead to stagnation. Over time, this stagnation can contribute to the formation of masses such as uterine fibroids. Other conditions that might be caused by stagnation and cold and lack of flow in the lower burner can be period pains, tight or locked hips, lower back pain, endometriosis, even cystitis and consistent urinary tract infections. So I'm going to cover all of those in this episode of Ask Me Anything to really encourage the free flow of energy back to this area and the lower belly and the lower burner. So first of all, let's look at why we might have the stagnation in the lower body. Perhaps what is the cause? Well, one of them is trauma, both physical and emotional trauma. What happens is the body goes into a fright or a freeze mechanism, and that happens when we suffer prolonged stressful situations or encounter an unexpected, either physical or emotionally shocking situation. Those stress responses to both of those aspects of trauma lead to lack of movement. So you freeze, you fright, and you are still in that spot. So whether it's energetic movement or blood flow, you need to get it moving and getting it flowing. So the first thing we go to is Qi Gong. At the end of this talking, there will be a little nugget, a Rabbit Springs Qi Gong nugget. And that's part of a larger 8 trigram Qi Gong that we practice in Qi Flow with Joe. And it's all about moving the Qi. Rabbit Springs, where we really use the fingers to massage the belly all around. So you could even take your fingers now and just massage underneath your ribs. Massaging. You can go down just on top of the iliac crest, over the pubic bone, around to the other side, really using the hands to till the soil. If we imagine our body as kind of like the soil, we need to till it, we need to move it, and we need to turn the soil so that it is fertile and it's not soggy, muddy or stuck. So using your fingers and bringing a light massage. And as I said, the Qi Gong for rabbit springs will include the breath and the movement, doing both of these. So you can have a look at that at the end of this podcast. A very simple way that we can use it though is by just taking our hands and rubbing the lower belly. Find your belly button, and just below that we're going to use CV6. We're going to practice a breathing exercise. This breathing exercise is really going to bring oxygen, chi, blood to this whole lower belly area. So what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the exhale. Blow out all the way. Blow it out, 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 all the way. Your tummy button comes right back into the spine, and now relax. And you'll feel that your belly fills with oxygen effortlessly. Let's do it again. Exhale. Send your belly button and that point below the spine right back to the spine, right back. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Squeeze, 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 and relax. Find that the breath comes in effortlessly and goes right down to the lower belly, because far too often we're taught to breathe in and we do this, yeah? And we're breathing with the top part of our lungs, and that is creating a stress response. So we want to negate the stress response and breathe deep into the belly, bringing the chi and bringing the blood right down to the lower belly. So let's do it again. Find your lower belly, just 2 fingers below, CV6, hold your belly, and exhale. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Imagine the belly button going right back to the spine. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze, and relax. One more, squeeze. Exhale, squeeze the belly button right back to the spine, and relax. And you should be able to feel that there's a less tension, that there's less holding of everything down here. It'll really help with your pelvic floor. You're really exercising this area. These are not exercises to do just once and you think, oh, okay, that's done. These exercises are to be done every day, just like brushing your teeth. Chi Flow with Joe is a daily live practice so that you start your day right every day. It's really important. If you want to stop stagnation, then you have to increase flow, and that has to be done on a daily basis. So do it in the morning, do it when you're making a cup of tea, when you're hanging out the washing, when you just after you've cleaned your teeth. This lower belly breathing where you're sending the spine right back to the belly button, it fills the lower belly. And wherever we take our attention to, our chi follows. And wherever our chi goes, blood flows. But first of all, we have to have the intention and the attention. So for this Qi Gong exercise, it's in the lower belly where the fibroids are. But what does that actually mean? Well, it means for somebody to make this computer, somebody had to imagine the computer. They had to solve problems. For me to do this podcast, somebody had to think of the question. I had to think of the form to put on the website. All of these things all stem from this mind, the Yi mind that we can really tap into. Then we bring it really into the body and we take our attention with our Yi mind right down to the place where we need to bring chi and blood to get the stagnation moving. So we need to take our attention to this area of the lower belly. And as I said earlier, another cause of stagnation and poor blood and chi flow circulation is emotional trauma. And usually you can't get through life without having emotional trauma. You just can't. That's what life is, unfortunately. There is death, there is pain, and there is suffering. But you can develop a way to meet this pain and suffering. You can develop a resilience to this emotional trauma. And you can decide how you respond to the events that happen in your life. There will be at some point in your life where you could point out to me that this happened and it wasn't my fault. That happened and I didn't deserve it. Absolutely everybody will be able to point out something that happened to them that was unfair, uncalled for, and really caused pain and trauma. It wasn't my fault, it happened to me and I did nothing to cause it. Perhaps like the uterine fibroids. So what do we do so that we don't get overwhelmed and stuck and frozen with a poor me situation where the blood isn't flowing and we're not embracing the fullness of life? Well, we take our attention with loving kindness. And sometimes this lower pelvis is not where we like to put our attention. Especially in a kind of a Christian environment, we're told that we shouldn't go to this kind of sexual center, that there's a shame to it. But there's not, there's a power to it. So I want you to keep your attention in your lower belly. Quite often we're told live in the heart, and that's great. We can love everybody, we can connect, but we can't solve our problems with the heart or with the mind. In Chinese medicine, the source and the sex is where we all come from, and we have to really embrace this lower belly area, our sexual center. So I would really recommend having a conversation with your womb and with your uterine fibroids. Spend time here. Go into a meditation state where you're just breathing and you can let go of the thoughts of why did this happen? What can I do? Just sit, meditate, and come back to the space behind the thoughts and come to your womb as your sexual center, the power center where all of life stems from and procreates, and see what your uterine fibroids have to say. I'll share a personal story. I once had a conversation with my womb. I was at a friend's 50th birthday party and I went to bed and I had a conversation with my womb. We were sleeping in kind of dorm room situation, so I was by myself just sharing with lots of women. And I asked my womb, what would you like to tell me? And my womb told me that I should ask Davy to marry me. So I got up in the morning and I asked Davy to marry me. I was 52 years old, never been married before, never wanted to be married, and I was really surprised that my uterus and my womb had told me that that's what they wanted. Part of me wanted that, my uterus, my womb. And it was the best thing I ever did. My mind would not have thought of the question. My heart did not want that question, because for me, marriage symbolized a kind of ownership, that I was being owned and some kind of control. That would have been my head and my heart. But actually, when I spoke to my womb, that's what I needed. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go off and marry somebody for your uterine fibroids to dissolve, but I'm saying it's the connection with your womb, the connection with your lower belly, with your sexual energy. And quite often through emotional trauma, which doesn't have to necessarily be sexual abuse or sexual trauma, anything that's made us contract, anything that's made us fearful, you'll notice will contract the hips, the lower belly, will stop digestion, you might get bloating, and period pains, endometriosis, uterine fibroids. So we really want to embrace and hang out with this sexual center, really low in the belly. Get past the feelings of fear and really learn to sit with your uterus, sit with your womb, and have a loving kindness conversation. Allow there to be space for sexual energy. And this is the energy that's stored in your lower belly. And quite often for women, and I know I'm talking to a lot of women on my podcast, that tends to be the people who resonate with my work. We're kind of told not to go to this area, not to follow sexual urgings, sexual expression, the feeling, because it's dangerous. But I'm not talking about having sex with someone else. I'm talking about building an intimate relationship with your womb, with your sexual energy, and with your feeling of expressing that beautiful, sensual person that you are, without fear or without danger of repercussions. really go into that space and have a conversation. What is blocking that energy? What is freezing that energy? And if you want any help, of course, I wrote a whole book on that, on the good food. So remember, we can really quite simply drop our attention, and where our attention goes, Qi follows, and where Qi goes, blood flows. So we have those things. First we need to take our attention there, and then the Qi and the blood will follow. So that breathing exercise again, and as I said, go and try the Qi Gong rabbit springs at the end of the video. It's good to just hang out in your lower belly. Get comfy. Get sexy. What is that? Swirl around on your chair. It's good to hang out. And some of the issues which would be around the fibroids or stagnation of Qi might be about giving birth to something. So what is in there? What have you not birthed? What secrets have you held in your pelvis, in your sexual centers? What have you not given birth to? So have a look at this creativity and flexibility. It doesn't have to be giving birth to a child, but what creativity? What clothes have you not worn? What places have you not visited? What books have you not read? Have a conversation with your womb and see what it wants to birth. Works in as a whole, and the different organs are connected to different emotions. So what I've chosen as the food for you would be to increase the blood flow, and that is connected to the liver organ. And also the liver, the emotion for the liver would be anger or frustration, whereas in the positive it would be creativity and flow. So I'm going to be talking about food specifically for you, which would be for the liver and the gallbladder. So you'd want to go to the green chapter, because the liver and the gallbladder govern the smooth flow of blood and emotions. So emotionally checking into this lower area, is there residual anger? Is there a memory you're holding on to? So hang out, develop a relationship, and see what has not been birthed. Like I said, when I went and had a chat to my womb, I asked David to marry me, and it was the best decision that I've ever made. I'm really happy with the commitment that I had made, and I realized that that really opened a floodgate to be more emotionally available for him, for me, for my family. That's my personal sharing with you. Obviously you can interpret that for your own situation, but see what perhaps is a secret in there. See what even shame is in there, and what secret perhaps you're holding on to. So the food I'm going to recommend for this lady and the uterine fibroids is, there could be all sorts of different food for the liver, predominantly sour in flavour, and you can have a look at the books, but rhubarb is what specifically has come to mind for this lady. Rhubarb is, as you know, a very sour flavour in it, and it's known as a slippery food, so it will help intestines move, and it helps the blood circulation and the lower Qi movement. And if you've ever had rhubarb, you'll know that it's a great ingredient for constipation. It has high fiber content and really helps bowel movements, increasing the peristalsis movement through the intestines. And it can also do that through your womb, your uterus, the sexual organs, really getting that blood flow through the belly. And the last thing that we come to is the acupressure point. Now, this pressure point should not be done if you are pregnant, because it really moves the blood in the uterus and the lower belly. And obviously, if you're pregnant, that's not what you want to do. You want to hold on. So that might help you also to remember this point. This point is called spleen 6, and it really helps blood stagnation, moving the blood. So the spleen, which is the opposite to the liver, it's on the left hand side of the body. We're talking about spleen, duodenum, and pancreas, and it's really one of the yin organs of the body. So the meridian for the spleen is on the inside of the body. The yin is dark, it's nurturing, whereas yang is outside, the moving outward. It's hot, warm, moving things to the extremities, usually seen the back of the body, protecting the soft yin of the front and the belly. So spleen 6 is a very yin point, and in fact called 3 yin crossing, because it's where the kidney, the liver and the spleen meridian cross on the inner leg. So let's find that together. First of all, you want to find your leg. That's quite easy. Okay, find your leg. And what I want you to use is 4 fingers from the top of the ankle bone right up the midline. I'm on that squidgy part. Yeah? I'm on the squidgy part. I'm not on the shin bone. That would feel, the energy feels a bit like a knife on the shin bone. I'm right in the middle, and I'm 4 fingers above the ankle bone, and I'm just going to press into that. Now, how to press a point. Remember, this is your body. So you don't, it's a little bit like shaking somebody's hand. I'm not going to squeeze this point to death. If you met somebody, you wouldn't squeeze and squeeze and squeeze their hand. You would have a pressure that they knew also wasn't light or floppy. It's a good handshake, and that's what you're doing with this point here. You're doing a good handshake. And remember, press, you can rub, you can massage and rub, 4 fingers pressing in, and just see if you can feel your lower belly start to relax. It's a great point to do while you're sitting watching the telly. You can rub the foot, you can even massage the whole area. And remember, you have 2 legs, so you have a spleen 6 on the other side as well. But right now I'm just going to do this side, 4 fingers, press and hold. 3 yin crossing, really great for moving blood right through that lower belly, helping with endometriosis, uterine fibroids, bloating, inflammation of the intestines. Really great. So I can also feel this is a little bit ow, but I can also feel tingling. You will have different feelings. What you might do is hold the belly button like a mother hand, and you listen to your body. Listen to your womb. This is what I was talking about earlier in the podcast. Just to see if you have a memory, if you have a sense of what you'd like to express, of any secrets that are held in your womb. Your mother hand will listen to your womb. And I'm just going to finish off rubbing and coming back again to hold at the lower belly. This mother hand just below and behind the belly button. So these are basic things in Chinese medicine. And you would think, well, why would anybody want to teach me to breathe? It's a real foundational start. So start with the breathing, connect in with the mother hand on the lower belly. Try the foods, try the points, and let me know how you go. Connect to your own sexual organs. Breathe with your uterus. Remember, exhaling, the belly button goes all the way to the spine. Releasing and relaxing, going right down into the sexual organs. Take your attention to the lower belly. Develop a loving relationship with your sexual energy of being alive. It's not about having sex with somebody else. It's about really feeling this expansive passion for being alive. A human being who has a finite space. We will all die. We have a finite time and a finite space. So connect with your deepest desires and express yourself. I hope that gave you some insights and some support. May you be happy, safe and well. May I be happy, safe and well. And may all beings everywhere be happy, safe and well. Good morning, afternoon, or evening when you are watching this. We are going to do the rabbit springs. Now, rabbit springs is part of the 8 triagrams set. And a triagram is what you've seen in the I Ching, where you've got the lots of dots and dashes. And we look at the belly as a triagram. Okay, so we're going to be going around the belly. We're going to start with liver 13, which is at the end of the floating rib. We've got liver 13 there. You might remember that from your scratching monkey. And then we're going to come into spleen 16. To find spleen 16, you find your belly button, 4 fingers, not the thumb, just 4 fingers, and then come out to the line of the nipples. And that is spleen 16. And you've got 2 of those, and that's called the Great Lament. So they're great digestion points. And then you've got CV12. So find your belly button, the whole palm, and CV12 is in the middle. So you can see it's kind of almost like a little diagonal. We're going to start on the right side and we're going to move around to the left side and then work our way down. Find the top of your hip bone. So that's called the iliac crest, and then fall off that into the squidgy bit. So we have got valves here. We've got the sigmoid valve and the iliocecal valve. And sometimes they can get a little bit blocked up and a little bit stuck. So physically, that's what we're doing. We're taking and we're moving and massaging, and we come round over the top of the pubic bone and around. You can see here's the iliac crest, and I'm just massaging on top of that. So I'm getting that squidgy bit and I'm getting that valve. Now, if it's painful to use your fingers, then just use the palms of your hands, okay? So there are always ways around it. And also I have the chair, the stool, because I'm going to show you how to do the sitting down as well. So that's part 1. Taking the bear pause. Let's just go from liver 13 up and around and then down, up and around and then down. So you can see that my pelvis is turning under and my body is turning around. So I've got already this massage worked out. Okay, so I've got some looseness in the hips. Okay, and we follow the direction of the colon, the ascending and the descending colon. All right, so this is your triagram. Okay, when I edit the video, I'll put a picture of the triagram there. So this is your triagram, and you're going around all points on the triagram, because as I said, rabbit springs is taken from the 8 triagram practice. The other thing that we're going to use is we're going to use dragon's breath. So dragon's breath is normally scrunching your face, scrunching your hands like a prune, breathing in and then breathing out. But I don't want you to force out the tongues and make your eye pop. What I want you to do is remember and imagine that your tongue is actually kind of really attached to your belly here, right down into your belly. So as you breathe out, you're breathing out that tongue, okay? You're really kind of, it's not like you're straining. I don't want to see any strain in your, and I don't want you to feel strain. This isn't about pain and strain, okay? So as we go around, this is the movement I want you to make, and it's called tilling the soil. So we just press and massage in, press and massage, press and massage, press and massage, okay? So we've got the triagram, and now we've got the lion's breath. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to start by learning wave breathing. So I want you to take your hands onto your kidneys, breathe in, stick your chin up to the ceiling and your bum out like a duck, breathe out. Chin comes down to the pubic bone, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and out. And so we've loosened and opened that bit there. Now I want you to put your hand on your belly, your hand on your chest, and we're going to do wave breathing. So the breath comes in through the belly, up through the chest, and then as we breathe out, sit, pretend you're about to sit on a chair.
Scoop under the pelvis, open the chest, and sit on the chair. Breathing in, up, out, down. Okay, so we've got the whole kind of aspect of the rabbit springs going on now. We've got those 3 different parts. We've got the points, we've got the massage, and we've got the breathing. Oh, and we've got the tongue as well. So release that and we put them together. And how we put them together is we use kind of throwing away the trash. But instead, I'll take my socks off. Instead, you're going to see I'm not going to come up on my toes. Kind of throwing away the trash, you normally come up on your toes and down. Really, for rabbit springs, you keep your feet firmly on the floor. Okay, your feet are firmly on the floor, but we still reach up behind us and open up the conception vessel. And then as we come down, start over in liver 13. Okay, so we open up and we squeeze the glutes so we protect the lower back. And then we breathe out. And as we breathe out, and it's 3 times. Have a glass of water around, because after you've done this, you might want a glass of water. But don't become too worried about the mouth getting dry. It will produce a lot of saliva. And in Chinese medicine, saliva is known as the great elixir. Really need to be producing saliva. And it's said that as we age, we stop producing so much elixirs. So don't worry that you're actually going to be stimulating more saliva, which is part of the digestion process. And this is what this is all about. It's helping you digest, absorb and assimilate, make whatever you've digested yours, and then excrete and eliminate. All those 3 aspects with rabbit springs. Okay. Now I'm going to also just demonstrate for the stool. So for the stool, same thing. We're going to be breathing in, up, protecting the lower back. And then as we come down, now obviously you're not going to be able to get as much scoop, but you can still use that. Be careful not to hunch your shoulders up, okay? Don't bring tension to the shoulders, but you can still 1, 2, 3, open it up. 1, 2, 3. All right, and you can work your way around the triagram just the same. All right. Okay, so I think I've demonstrated enough now. So let's do the full practice. Let me open that a little bit. Okay, stand in Wuji position. Sink it down, tailbone down. Align, Wuji, openness. Feel nice and open. Breathing in. And coming down. You can make bear paws and roll around. Up the right, down the left, following the ascending and descending colon. Let it go with the shoulders. I feel like I got a little bit tensed in my shoulders there. So let them go. Connect heaven and earth. Doesn't that make you feel alive? Feeling really alive. One thing that maybe I forgot to say is that when you've done the 3, you'll find that the body automatically wants to throw the hands back. So don't take another breath. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, and then open up again. 1, 2, 3, open up again. Have a beautiful Qi-filled day. May you be happy and may you be well.